Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. A couple of new things on this channel. Number one, I've been gone for the past 2 days. I've done morning live streams, haven't posted a video. Been really busy trying to get back at it. I am here today on this Wednesday, middle of the week. If the week isn't going that well, middle of the week, you got to get back into it and get on the grind. And the week has been going well. It's just I wasn't able to post on Monday and Tuesday. Number two, you see this new background? This is I really like this thing. I'm here. It's blurry in the back. There's a cool little like shade of or like contrast of me in the video and the background, which is what I know a lot of people have been asking for. Things are getting better. It's not just the bricks anymore. And I'm going to get colors soon to make this like blue and purple and stuff, but I need your help. What knickknacks should I have in the back? So there's Scruffy right there. That's my bear that I've had since I was in kindergarten, or even before I was in kindergarten. My favorite like teddy bear of all time. I used to talk to him when I didn't have friends, but now I have a couple of friends, so I don't have to talk to him anymore. What other things do you suggest having? I want to get a sign that says like a mid is legit or something cool. These screens don't really work. They're just there to be there. So I'm trying to figure out what goes in the background, but I want that this thing right here, this section to be iconic. I want there to be like a bunch of knickknacks. It'd be really cool. Number two, Palantir stock price. Palantir stock price, let's check it out right now. It's in the gutter. Let's actually open up Webull right now just to look at it. We're going through an article today. This is what I wanted to make the video about. But let's go to Palantir right now. Here, we're in the main area. And here we go. Palantir is at $10.68. It's down 4% on the day after being down about, I think 10% since last week. So it's rough right now, right? The entire market is bad. If we look at the entire market, a lot of red. I mean, you see a little bit of green up there, and those are like some Bitcoin, Ethereum, Coca-Cola, some stocks, and then most of the growth stocks that are over here. It's bad. The market is pretty bad right now. I'm probably going to come out with a video a little bit later talking about the general market. I've been talking about it in my Market Open live stream. But you know, it's rough right now. And I guess the thing I want to say about Palantir, if you're holding it and it's rough right now, I'm not one of those people that's going to say you absolutely have to buy. It's only $10. Like it's an important opportunity to buy. Rather, my point is just like, look, this is an opportunity at the end of the day for you to decide if you want to wait till it gets lower and load up, or if you want a dollar cost average. For me, I have my position. I'm set in stone. I have 2,000 shares. It's not that I won't be adding more. I just don't have the capital to deploy right now. So it kind of sucks seeing this happen because I really do want to load up, but I just, I loaded up in January and February a lot, and I made videos, you can check them on my channel, of how much I bought each of those months. I think it was total was like $11,000, which for me is a lot of money. For you, it might not be, but so I put that money into Palantir. And then on top of that, we might go lower. I mean, there's a lot of fear in the market that I don't think is just FOMO or just like FUD. I do think there is a chance that we could have a recession. Now, earnings, and this week is going to be a big one. If we can get through this week relatively unscathed, that'll be okay. Google, did their end of the bargain. YouTube missed a little bit. That was okay. Microsoft was all right. And now a question is what's going to go on with Facebook, Amazon, Apple, etc. So we're going to see what happens. I'll be doing some more future videos about that. But in the context of Palantir, my best bet is either you buy right now because the price is extremely attractive, or you wait till it gets lower if a recession is going to come. If a recession is not going to come, if we have a little bit more of a rally, then you're going to miss out on buying it at 10. You ultimately have to be fine with, do you think there's a difference between buying it at 8 and 10? Yes, there's a $2 difference, but is it worth the mental health of waiting to 8 or getting Palantir at 14 and then you missed out on getting it at 10 and now there's a $4 difference, right? It's just... And most professional investors, from what I understand, they make the decision, they stick with it, and then they have their average, and then it's going to go up or down, and you got to deal with it. But over the long term, if it's above your average, you're going to make money, and that's the nature of investing. And I think that's ultimately what everyone has to decide right now. So having said that, even though Palantir is down 5%, let's go through an article that came out from a top tip ranks analyst. If you don't know tip ranks, they're like a software that ranks stocks, and they're like, I guess they're good at doing that. I've just seen their name around. I don't know them too much. Palantir government business expansion bodes well for the stocks as top analyst. So let's read through the article a little bit and let's get sort of the idea that's coming out here. Fortunately for those backing Palantir, this is exactly what Piper Sandler's Weston Twigg thinks about the big data specialist. Piper Sandler is, what is this? This is a bank, I believe, right? Piper Sandler Home. Yeah, it's an investment banking company. Cool. So Twigg's confident outlook for the company is based on a recent analysis of Palantir's U.S. government's contracts, which he found to solidify the bull case. We noted broadening traction among governmental agencies beyond defense and into agencies like the Department of Veteran Affairs, Department of Energy, which has been true. We expect this to drive 10 to 20% annual USG growth for the next few years. Again, this is why Kathy sold the stock. She didn't see this type of governmental growth happening. She thought that it was too much multi-vendor source. There was too much multi-vendor sourcing, so governmental growth wouldn't happen. Obviously, this analyst would disagree based upon what they've seen. And then, there's a Russia-Ukraine situation that we'll talk about. Spanning across agencies, including the Army, Navy, Air Force, U.S. Special Operations Command, Department of Defense, still represents the biggest revenue generator, with them estimating the segments account for 50 to 77% of Palantir's U.S. governmental revenue. So about 5 major agencies sort of represent the amount of U.S. Government revenue growth that Palantir is getting. Obviously, the diversification of that is important. This is why Palantir partnered with Carasoft, which is a software reseller of licenses. Basically, every governmental contractor has to work with them in order to package their products and sell them to the government in a more meaningful way. So that could also expand growth as well. Given the DoD's requested discretionary budgets are anticipated to rise by 5% in 2022 and 4% in 2023, they think the high DoD exposure could be a positive for the business. Now, Kathy would think that's wrong. They want more diversification, right? So you can see the sort of difference between the perspectives here. What's more, Russia's invasion of Ukraine could act as a catalyst for the DoD to upgrade its technologies and be ready for any future potential conflicts. And I think the article gets it right there, but I think more than the DoD in the United States, the DoDs that exist in Europe, right? The intelligence agencies that exist all across the world that we know Palantir is working with as a result of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. This is a video I did a while ago, and Sham Sankar said that they are now working with the Lithuanian government, the Poland government, obviously the UK, on their refugee crisis. Because the Ukrainian crisis means that there is a better likelihood that Palantir is able to land stronger deals in these countries, because it's kind of getting your foot in the door. You started a relationship because of something that happened. You're actually being able to provide good service. Now the question is, can you upsell them on more and more products, especially if you're actually helping them on some of the biggest products or some of the biggest issues that they have. Palantir has gained a foothold in other departments too. For example, 2020, the U.S. government grew by 91% year over year, 474 million over 248 million. That's some pretty strong growth. However, at the same time, revenue generated from the Department of Health and Human Services increased by 892% from 6.4 million in 2019 to 56 million. That type of growth, like 892%, 91%, if we can see that across the government, obviously 892 is kind of crazy, but like across government and commercial, I mean, that's the type of acceleration I think that the market needs to make Palantir a winner stock, even in this crappy market, which would be overall 50, 60% growth year over year. And it's hard to get there, but I mean, that's the inflection point I think we need. With the segment accounting for 12% of USG revenue compared to 3% in 2019. As such, Health and Human Services takes second place in the revenue generating ranks with Department of Homeland Security, Treasury, Veteran Affairs, Department of Energy, etc. So a bunch of these people, a bunch of these agencies. So promising for Palantir's USG business, what are the implications for investors? They have an overweight, which is a buy, yet the price target is nudged higher from 15 to 16. Morgan Stanley also rated it at around 16. Now they were still underweight because it was 24 before, but it's still, it was higher from where it was trading at, which is decent. Should the analyst thesis go according to plan, investors will be sitting on a 1-year return of 32%. So if we get Palantir from, well, now it's even more because this article was written at 12. Now if it's at 10, it's going to be a little bit more than 32%. Twig is one of the street's Palantir bulls, but most remain skeptics. The stock hold consensus rating is based on 5 holds, 3 buys, and 1 sell. However, going by the 15 average price target, the stock is anticipated to climb 24% higher over the coming year, which is the average price target. Interesting analysis. And the reason I wanted to cover this article is, again, to give you some of those stats of like how the governmental growth accelerated. The reason Kathy sold it off and the reason a lot of people were scared about Palantir really over the last earnings call, outside of the crappy market, right? It was trading at 12 around earnings. You got to remember. Now the market is trading it at like, 10, 11, which is like not that far off from where it was in earnings. And it even dipped below 10, I think a week after earnings or close to that week. The governmental growth stayed flat at 90 clients year over year, which is what we saw in the last earnings call. And that's what scared a lot of people, which is like, okay, so if the government growth is not happening, is Palantir still really this big company that we think it's going to become in the context of the governmental growth? I always thought this was weird because the commercial growth is accelerating, triple-digit percentage points. The net dollar retention from government and commercial is accelerating, 150%. So it's like they're getting more of their existing clients and they're going into all these other sectors. And the big thing against Palantir, at least in 2021, early 2021, was that they are too dependent on the government and they're only relying on governmental revenues and they're not relying enough on the commercial sector. And it's like, okay, once they lessen one and they go for the other, the market flips and like, why are you lessening the other one? Now you have to keep both growing. And it's like, I get it, but it's really hard to get both of those growing in a pandemic year and in which the Department of the United States hasn't even passed a federal budget, which they finally have done after Q1 2021 or Q4 2021, and now that they actually have a sales force, right? Because they did this with 25 salespeople. Now they have about 200. Now they've expanded into Germany. They have a deeper presence in the UK. They actually have really major, amazing partnerships. The Jacobs partnership that they came out with, the Accenture deal that they came out with. A lot of this stuff I cover on dailypalantir.com, so you guys can check that out. And I'm going to be doing a video soon talking more about everything that's going on in the entire market, in the entire Palantir lifecycle since earnings. So there will be a video coming up documenting every single deal that has been done since earnings. But it is since Q4 earnings, in preparation for the May 9th event on Q1 earnings. But they've been doing a lot, right? And a lot of people are like, well, why doesn't the stock price reflect that? Because it's not going to reflect that. The market is crap. Like, you can't expect Palantir to be $40 when everything is crashing. At the point where Google is crashing, like, Palantir is not going to make it there. So I think we're in a rough ride until the market gets better, and I think it's time to just relax and chill. And maybe you add a little. Like the way I would describe it is, if you have $1,000, you put in 200 on Monday, and then maybe 400 on Tuesday, and maybe nothing on Wednesday, right? Like, you don't just put all 1,000 at once. You let it happen, and you see what happens, and you let it kind of play out. That's how at least I would play it. And you ultimately remember what you hold. If you remember what you hold, it is very difficult to get scared or worried. I do not lose a single minute or second of sleep at night on my Palantir position. And I say that in the most honest way I can possibly say that. I do not lose sleep over this. I know what I hold. I know that it's gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. And as a result of that, I'm enjoying the journey of covering it and ultimately talking about it when it does happen. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about Palantir's governmental growth? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.